So, you actually like, you answered a couple questions that I had jotted down here already just in that last verbal process there. Um, One of the ones that I wanted to touch on a little bit was you've brought up the beast empires a couple times here, and we see historically we've seen, I believe it's six of them already on the earth, like through the Bible, and then we get glimpses of them through bits of the Apocrypha as well. But then we have this seventh and eighth beast empire that hasn't yet come or is maybe here, and that's more set to the end times. Could you speak a little bit to those last seven and eight of the empires?
Yeah. So in Daniel 2, we get an end time. In the metallic empires, we get an end time, but we don't get um, the full understanding of this end time empire. And in Daniel 2, and I like to always start there is, if this is a giant statue, and I get into the words of that, this is a giant because it's giant bloodlines we're talking about. And it starts with Babylon with the head of gold, and then you've got silver, and then you got bronze with Greece, and then you've got the Iron Empire of Rome, right? And before that, you had Assyria and you had Egypt. So that's how you're getting to six. Um, Daniel 8 is not in conflict. It's more information, but using a different allegory, getting you to the same number, where you have Alexander empire split into four. Now you have five. Rome comes, it's part of the Greek Empire, but it's the sixth empire. And then out of that, you get sort of this connection that Antichrist is somehow connected to that empire somehow, some way, by how it transitions into the Antichrist unicorn type figure in Daniel 8. And so these two iron legs produce in the end time 10 kings, 5 kings on each toe, and it's made of iron and clay. And somehow their seed is going to mix their seed with men in the end time. So whether or not that is, uh, you know, giants coming back, or some sort of spiritual possession, or it's a mix of iron, degraded, metallic, Rephaim bloodlines, and clay humans. So let's say 5 strong men over 10 empires. That's a basis understanding moving forward, that you have these 10 kings that are going to be in the end time. So in Daniel 7, you have this beast empire, and these ones all come up out of the sea, that are blown up by the 4 winds, which is another super important concept to understand the 4 horsemen, but I won't get in there today. And that this beast empire has 10 horns that come out of it for the end time, and then a single horn rises up in the middle for the 8th empire. So in the middle of the last 7 years, as Daniel 9, Daniel 11, Daniel 12, and elsewhere, is the abomination when Antichrist comes to power, right? So he rises up after these 10 kings. And so in Revelation 17, those kings hand their power over to Antichrist, and he overthrows 3, according to the book of Daniel, probably replaces them because there's still 10, but they'll be vassals of his. And he is the 8th empire that rules in the last 3.5 years. So this 10 king empire is going to rise. And we see that happening today. And also, before I get into that, that's the same number as in Atlantis, right? As the new Atlantis, right? And the same 10 groups of nations that the Club of Rome divided us into, or the UN divided us into 10 groups, and on and on and on. Like, that number's probably coming back. It may not be quite the same map, but look for 10 and those 10 kings to rule. And so these 10 kings, this is what we see rising today. And the real story behind the headlines and the geopolitical wars and rumors of wars that we're seeing happen today. And that as the bloodlines reassert their power to get control of their empires. I mean, there's certain things have to be done, like to bring the U.S. to heel, get rid of the middle class. And the Europeans have
They're
a vision
trying.
on how to do this. Yeah. And the Europeans have a vision how to do this, but other bloodlines around the world don't agree. So this is going to be partly strong, partly weak. They're going to get there with this Nephilim world order as the fallen ones, ruled by the invisible ones, and as with the authority of the invisible ones, the 10 kings as the visible ones are going to be ruling from these empires for the invisible ones. So you see President Xi, XI, pushing back, saying, I'm not against the New World Order. I want a larger role. Well, who is Xi? I mean, he's leader of the Communist Party who's making himself almost a permanent president there. Well, the dragon creator gods, both before and after the flood in Chinese history, created the heavenly sons as their kings, the dragon kings, like the serpentine Nephilim kings. And that these are seraphim angels as dragon creator gods. And that they created the Shah dynasty. And there's two branches, an east and a west. The Li is the most common name for the eastern branch. XI is the most common royal name of the dynasties that ruled until the Western Europeans sent their virus, communism, to bring that bloodline down. Right? Now they're reasserting their power. And so the Shah dynasty is spelled XIA. XI is the short version and the word used for the name. You have a bloodline king with dynastic ambitions on the throne. Putin believes has bloodlines back to the original Putyanin bloodline, the Tsars of Kiev, which were Scythians, which were Tuatha De Danann, which were giants after the flood. And that he is an illegitimate child descendant. His grandfather was born through a Putyanin and somebody that he wasn't married to. And his father moves to St. Petersburg is how he gets there. So he believes he's a legitimate heir of the Putyanin. And the Putyanin start the Russian branch branch country, and usurp Moscow, Mashek, as we understand that as the etymological root for Moscow, in 1000 AD with Vladimir the Great, who Putin has created this great statue to emulate. The Putyanin bloodline transitions through intermarriage and a scion into the Romanovs. Through intermarriage, you get the junior offshoot of the Romanovs. And of course, the Western bloodlines sent their virus communism to get rid of a more powerful and more pure bloodline with the Romanov dynasty. And through World War I and World War II, and creating the Nazis, which was, again, social masonry, another form of it created by the secret societies to get communism out of control. National socialism gets out of control, but guess what? The Kaiser bloodline is gone, right? And they've eliminated rivals. That is what's playing out behind the scenes. So when I say World War I was a family squabble, it literally was, because they were all cousins. They intermarry that much. And of course, they overthrew temporarily the Bourbon bloodline in Spain with communism, with the Civil War.